Imagine stumbling upon like a hidden document, a text claiming to be the secret, completely unedited teachings of one of the most famous, and I mean fiercely debated, figures in human history.
Right, teachings that were just systematically left out of the standard texts we all grew up with.
Exactly. And it's wild because today's deep dive centers on exactly that kind of document.
Mm.
We are exploring this really fascinating compilation from 2011 by an author named Xuefeng.
And it was later translated and edited by Kinyu, right?
Yeah, it's titled, These Are Truly the Words of Jesus. And it contains 113 secret discourses, which the source notes say were actually recorded by Thomas.
Which is already a huge deal.
Totally. But what is truly wild is how Xuefeng explicitly frames these teachings. I mean, he argues that these discourses align perfectly with the paths of self-improvement and cultivation, guided by figures like, Buddha Sakyamuni and Laozi.
It's so interesting because it completely reframes the historical narrative. You're suddenly forced to look at these deeply familiar concepts through an entirely alien lens. It blends Western historical theology directly into Eastern mysticism. It strips away all the institutional doctrine we're used to and presents this highly individualized, almost psychological framework for enlightenment.
It's like you're reading Jesus, but the philosophical mechanics feel way closer to the Tao Te Ching.
Exactly.
So our goal today is to unpack this really striking collection. We'll explore how it paints an intensely personal, mystical, and honestly sometimes deeply cryptic picture of his teachings.
Oh, very cryptic.
Yeah. We're going to decode the bizarre parables, explore the concept of inner divinity, and discover what these ancient secrets mean for how you, the listener, navigate the modern world right now. So, okay, let's unpack this.
Well, to start, the entire foundation of this text rests on what I'd call a massive demolition project. I mean, it completely dismantles how we usually define the kingdom of heaven.
Right, because we're so conditioned to think of heaven as like a geographical destination.
Yes, or a future reward.
Exactly, like a VIP lounge you enter after you die.
Yeah.
Provided your karma or your morals, check out.
And the discourses actively mock that idea.
Mock it!
Oh, yeah. Like in Discourse 3, Jesus explicitly points out that if the kingdom is in the sky, well, the birds are going to get there before you do.
Right.
And if it's in the sea, the fish will beat you to it.
So the pigeons are basically currently holier than us.
Basically, yeah. I mean, he's using absurdity to break their literal spatial thinking. The text insists the kingdom is both within and outside of you.
Wow.
And later, when his disciples demand to know when the kingdom is coming, he tells them straight up that the Father's kingdom is already spread out upon the earth, but people just do not see it.
It's right there?
Yeah. Discourse 50 even notes that the peace and the new world people are waiting for has already arrived, but they just haven't realized it.
It's like the ultimate scavenger hunt frustration. You know when you're frantically tearing your house apart looking for your sunglasses?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then you glance in the mirror and realize they've been sitting on top of your head the entire morning?
That is exactly it.
You're desperately waiting to arrive at a destination that you are actually already standing inside of.
Right, because the obstacle isn't distance and it isn't time. It's perception.
Right.
The text diagnoses this blindness as a fundamental ignorance of the self. So waking up to the kingdom requires knowing who you actually are underneath all that external conditioning.
And if you don't?
Well, Discourse 3 warns that if you don't know yourself, you dwell in ignorance, and that ignorance will literally consume you.
Man. Let's ground that practically for you guys listening. Think about your baseline daily stress.
Yeah, the commute, the endless emails.
Exactly, the financial anxiety.
Right.
We treat our current environment like this miserable waiting room we just have to endure before we get to the good part of life, like the weekend or the promotion or retirement.
We're always deferring living.
Right.
Yeah.
But this text argues that the waiting room is the destination, the chaos around you is the kingdom, you just had the wrong lens on.
Changing that lens, however, is a brutal process. It's not about, finding a quiet moment to meditate and suddenly feeling peaceful. Waking up from that deeply ingrained blindness requires violent disruption.
And violent is definitely the word, because this is where I have, honestly, a major bone to pick with the text.
Okay, let's hear.
Well, we expect the Prince of Peace, right? But in Discourse 15, Jesus explicitly states he did not come to bring peace.
Right, he brought conflict.
Yeah, he says fire, swords, and wars. And he even claims this will divide a household of 5, turning father against son.
It's intense imagery.
It really is. I hear that, and my immediate reaction is, this sounds cult-like. I mean, why use such destructive, isolating language? It feels like the text is demanding we literally cut off our families to reach enlightenment.
I get that reaction, but the language is meant to shock you out of complacency.
Okay, but how is dividing a family not literal?
Because the imagery of a divided household isn't a literal instruction to abandon your family, it's a metaphor for severing psychological attachments.
Oh, I see.
Right. The people closest to us and the social structures we build, they often reinforce our false sense of self. They expect us to play certain roles.
Okay, I hear you saying it's a metaphor for internal upheaval,
Mm-hmm.
but using the imagery of household warfare is incredibly extreme.
It is extreme.
I mean, you can detach from social expectations without burning the house down.
Yeah.
It still sounds like an endorsement of hostility.
But look at it this way. If the text used gentle language about, like, setting healthy boundaries, you'd just nod along.
Sure.
You'd fold it into your existing worldview and change absolutely nothing. The sword forces a visceral break.
A shock to the system.
Exactly. It's not about isolating yourself from the people you love. It's about violently tearing down the expectations those people have placed on you, because those expectations form your false identity.
Right.
The fire burns away your comfortable illusions. The sword severs your attachment to external validation.
Okay, so the conflict isn't with the family members themselves. It's with the roles we've agreed to play for them. That makes the inward hostility a tool for liberation, I guess. Which, speaking of bizarre imagery, brings us to probably the most bizarre riddle in the compilation.
Oh, Discourse 7.
Yes. Blessed is the lion that a human eats, for it will become human. Cursed is the human who eats the lion.
It's such a striking image.
I mean, what do we even do with that?
Well, think of the lion as your primal, base, animalistic nature. The raw ego, the aggression, the unchecked ambition.
Okay.
Notice the instruction isn't to kill the lion. It's not to run away from it or to cage it. It's to eat it.
To consume the ego. But practically speaking, how do you consume your own ambition or anger without it, poisoning you?
By observing it and integrating it, when you feel raw anger or greed, the human instinct is usually to either act on it destructively or to shove it down in shame.
Right, hide it away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But eating the lion means sitting with that raw emotion, digesting it, and understanding its root cause. When you do that, you master those wild parts of yourself. You elevate that raw primal energy into something conscious and enlightened. The lion becomes human.
But wait, the second part of the riddle. If the human is eaten by the lion,
Right.
meaning if you just let the anger or the corporate ambition or the desire for, like, social media validation take the wheel,
Yes.
you don't just lose your humanity, you become the beast.
Precisely. You become the ignorance that consumes you. It's a really rigorous process of internal integration.
It sounds exhausting, honestly.
It is. And there's a parallel metaphor in Discourse 97 where the kingdom is compared to an assassin.
Right, the guy with the sword.
Yeah. A man wants to kill a strong adversary. But before he leaves his house, he thrusts his sword into his own wall to test his strength.
He's doing a dry run in his living room.
Exactly. The strong adversary is that deeply rooted illusion of the separated self. The thing that keeps you blind to the kingdom.
So you can't just vanquish it on a whim?
No, you have to do the rigorous work in your own house, in your own internal world, testing your mental discipline and your emotional control before you can actually conquer the ignorance that governs your life.
So once you test that sword and burn down those illusions, the text demands something that actually kind of defies human biology.
The oneness.
Yeah. It demands we stop categorizing entirely. I mean, our brains are hardwired by evolution to think in binaries to survive.
Right,
Now,
absolutely. Good and evil, light and dark.
in-group and out-group. But the Jesus in this text insists you cannot enter the kingdom until you completely smash that duality.
Discourse 21 is the absolute skeleton key for this. The instruction is to make the two into one.
Make the inner like the outer.
Right, the upper like the lower, the male and female into one. As long as your brain continues to perceive the world as a series of divided, conflicting forces, you remain stuck in the illusion.
It's like putting on a pair of those old school 3D glasses in a movie theater.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
When you wear them, the screen looks like two clashing images. Everything is aggressively tinted red or blue.
Yeah.
You are forcing a binary onto a single screen.
Yeah.
But the moment you take the glasses off, you collapse the duality and you see the single, unified, clear picture.
Taking off the glasses is the psychological mechanism for making the two into one. And the text assigns immense, almost supernatural power to that state of mind.
Discourse 105, right?
Yeah. It claims that when you achieve this oneness, you become the Son of Man, and you can literally command a mountain to move, and it will move.
Which, again, we aren't talking about doing landscaping with your mind.
No,
A
no.
mountain is the seemingly immovable obstacle in your life or your psyche.
Exactly. When you are no longer divided internally, when your desires, your actions, and your understanding are entirely unified, your will becomes absolute.
Because there's no internal conflict.
Right. You stop fighting the universe because you recognize you are inseparable from it. The friction just disappears.
That level of alignment sounds incredible, but also incredibly isolating. And the text doesn't shy away from that reality at all.
It embraces it.
Yeah. Discourse 74 says, "Many stand at the door, but only the solitary will enter the bridal chamber."
The bridal chamber being the metaphor for this ultimate oneness.
Right.
The heavy emphasis on the solitary journey operates as a direct attack on institutionalized spirituality.
Which makes sense.
Because institutions inherently create crowds. They create scholars, priests, and middlemen who claim to hold the exclusive keys to enlightenment.
And the text is merciless toward those middlemen. I mean, in Discourse 38, Jesus straight up accuses the scholars of hiding the key of true knowledge.
He really goes after them.
Yeah, he says they don't enter themselves and they block the door for everyone else trying to get in.
It's a demand for radical self-reliance. You cannot outsource this internal work to a congregation, a guru, or, frankly, a deep dive discussion.
Right, you got to do it yourself.
You have to ignore the noise of the crowd at the door, bypass the gatekeepers, and do the lonely, quiet work of unifying your own mind.
But if the reward for this solitary work is absolute alignment-like, the ability to move those internal mountains and recognize the kingdom right in front of us, why is it so rare?
That is the big question.
What's the malfunction in human nature? Because the text provides an answer that is so painfully relatable, it actually stings.
We're simply too distracted to notice.
Exactly.
There is a profound parable in Discourse 63 about a grand feast.
Oh, this one is rough.
The host prepares a massive banquet and sends out invitations to his guests. But every single invited person replies with a mundane excuse.
Yep.
One has to settle accounts with merchants, another must bought a house, someone else is prepping for a wedding, another needs to collect farm rent.
Real estate, weddings, and closing costs.
Yeah.
I mean, we are being offered the ultimate paradigm shift, spiritual awakening. And our default response is, I'd love to, but my calendar is completely blocked with admin work.
And the tragedy isn't that commerce or weddings are inherently evil.
No, of course not.
The tragedy is that we allow the logistics of survival to consume our entire bandwidth. The guests prioritize their daily transactions over their own enlightenment.
So what does the host do?
The master of the feast ultimately invites random strangers off the street instead, concluding with a stark warning that buyers and merchants will not enter the places of the Father.
Man. And modern society actively weaponizes this distraction. We are incentivized to focus exclusively on the transaction, which perfectly sets up what I think is the most haunting parable in the entire collection.
Discourse 96.
Yeah. The woman with the broken jar.
The imagery in that story is just devastating.
It really is. A woman is walking a long way home carrying a jar full of meal-like flour or grain.
Right.
And without her knowing, the handle breaks and the meal quietly spills out onto the road behind her.
Just leaking out.
Yeah. She just keeps walking, completely oblivious, assuming she's still carrying a full, heavy jar. She doesn't notice until she gets home, sets it down, and finds it completely empty.
So sad.
Is that us? Are we just marching down the road, bleeding our time and our potential? Because we are too focused on the logistics of the journey to notice we're losing our life force.
The modern parallel here is chilling. I mean, we aren't just accidentally distracted anymore. We live in an attention economy meticulously designed to crack the jar.
Wow, yes.
Every notification, every endless scroll, every manufactured outrage is a leak. Notice that the woman in the parable isn't robbed by a bandit.
Right?
She isn't violently attacked. The loss happens quietly, simply because she isn't paying attention.
That's terrifying. We treat our attention and our time like they are infinite, but the meal is finite.
Very finite.
We are leaking our capacity for deep thought and presence simply by staring at our phones while we walk.
It's the silent theft of distracted life. You don't realize you are spiritually bankrupt until you reach the end of the journey, and by then, the meal is gone.
That injects a massive dose of urgency into these teachings. This isn't just a leisurely philosophical debate about what heaven looks like.
No, not at all.
The text explicitly warns, in Discourse 58, I think, that while you are alive, you must cherish the living master, because once you are dead, the opportunity is gone. There's no postmortem cram session.
The work is immediate. Waking up requires a radical unattachment to the things we use to define our success.
Right.
Discourse 109 explicitly warns that whoever discovers the world and gets rich from it should abandon it. If you recognize that the jar is leaking, you don't just keep walking to see what happens.
You have to stop.
You stop, you drop the illusion of the transaction, and you cultivate radical, absolute presence.
The Jesus presented in Xuefeng's 2011 compilation is undeniably a stark departure from the traditional narratives we are usually handed.
Oh, a total departure.
He is a mystic, a psychological disruptor, and a teacher demanding absolute self-awareness.
He's not pointing his finger up to the clouds, promising a future paradise if you just behave well enough. He is pointing his finger directly at you, the listener.
He is challenging you to stop sleepwalking through the logistics of your life. He's telling you that the kingdom of heaven is spread out upon the earth right now, hiding in plain sight.
Yes.
And he is demanding that you bypass the crowds, take off the glasses of duality, and do the solitary work of finding the light within. As Discourse 23 says, there is light within a person of light, and they illuminate the whole world. If they do not shine, there is darkness.
The responsibility rests entirely on your own shoulders. No institution can make the two into one for you.
To leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over today, there is one discourse that distills this entire massive philosophy down to a simple two-word command.
Discourse 41.
Yes, Jesus says, become a passing traveler.
It completely dismantles the human instinct to own, to control, or to hoard.
Right. So if you truly viewed your life, starting tomorrow, not as an owner desperately trying to hoard wealth or status or maintain control over your environment.
But merely as a passing traveler.
Exactly. A passing traveler wandering through a kingdom that has already arrived. What is the very first thing you would stop worrying about?
A traveler carries only what they need for the road ahead. They don't weigh themselves down by trying to claim ownership of the path itself.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. Keep questioning the world around you, and we'll see you next time.